Today's episode is sponsored by the Collective Past. Have you ever had a moment in your life where everything seems to line up too perfectly? You think about a friend, then your phone lights up and it's them calling. You dream of something, then it happens. You have some random song lyrics stuck in your head. You walk into an elevator, and that obscure song is playing. You have a conversation with a family member, and then you go out into public and hear someone having the same conversation. You seem to look at the clock at the same time every day, often 11:11, or maybe when you begin to doubt everything, you see the exact words that you needed to hear up on a billboard. Most people call these things coincidences. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, when the inner world and the outer world collide in meaning. To Carl Jung, these moments prove that the universe is listening and willing you along in the right direction. Let me take you back to 1920. Carl Jung had a patient. Clever, skeptical, but allergic to anything mystical. He was struggling to break through with her. One day she told him about a dream, and in this dream a man handed her a golden scarab beetle. As she's describing it, Jung starts to hear tapping at the window. He looks up, and there at the window is a real golden beetle hitting the glass. Extremely rare. He catches it, he hands it to her and says, "Well, here's your beetle." And that was the moment that changed everything. To Carl Jung, it was proof that sometimes reality mirrors what is happening inside us. Jung called this an acausal connecting principle, events linked not by cause and effect but by meaning, like your inner life and the outside world are two instruments suddenly playing in tune. It's not about luck, it's about resonance, it's about alignment. Now even his mate, a certain Albert Einstein, was intrigued. If space and time can bend reality, maybe meaning bends it too. And once you start looking, once you start playing this game, synchronicity shows up everywhere. In 1973, Anthony Hopkins was cast in the film The Girl from Petrovka. The film was based on George Pfeiffer's 1971 novel of the same name. Hopkins was preparing for the role, and he was looking to study the book in detail. He was in London and he'd spent all day looking for a copy of this book but couldn't find one anywhere. Ready to throw in the towel, he sat on a park bench and looked down, and next to him there it was, a copy of The Girl from Petrovka. But this wasn't any old copy. This version had been annotated in detail. There was handwritten notes throughout the book. Months later, Hopkins met Pfeiffer on set, where the author told him that he'd lost his own annotated copy. Hopkins asked him to hold fire a minute, running back to his trailer. He grabbed the annotated copy that he'd found on that London park bench. He handed it to Pfeiffer, and to their amazement it turned out to be the exact copy that Pfeiffer had lost. The author Mark Twain was born in 1835, the day that Halley's Comet passed Earth, and he joked that one day I'll probably go out with it. He died the day it returned in 1910. 14 years before the Titanic sank, author Morgan Robertson wrote a novel about an unsinkable ship called the Titan. The Titan hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sinks. Same route, same details. 14 years later, the Titanic goes down. Edgar Allan Poe wrote about a shipwreck where sailors ate the cabin boy, a boy named Richard Parker. Decades later, it really happened, and the cabin boy's name was also Richard Parker. Then there's that really famous synchronicity story that always seems to show up. A young girl just playing, writes a message in a bottle, and tosses it into the ocean. Months later, another girl miles away finds it washed up on a beach. She opens the bottle and reads the message, and realises that the sender has the exact same name as her. They start writing to each other as the first girl left her address. It turns out they both got the same pet. I think it was a hamster or something from memory. The pet has the same name. The two girls are the same age, and they finally decide to meet in person. When they do, they show up wearing identical outfits completely unplanned. Even Jung himself once wrote the word transformation, and the moment he wrote that, lightning struck the tree outside his house. Now even I have some of these random stories that have personally happened to me, and I'm sure you've got examples of this too. I'd love to hear some of these stories. Chuck them in the comments if you've had anything happen to you.
What the fuck is going on here?
Science says it's pattern recognition. Our brains are connecting dots that aren't there. But Jung, and later physicists like Wolfgang Pauli, thought consciousness might be wired into reality itself. Maybe the universe isn't a machine, it's a mirror, it's something you can align to. What you project, your emotions, your focus, your belief, that reflects back to you as synchronicity. So are we able to harness this power of the universe? Well, many of the most successful people alive, CEOs, artists, athletes, swear by something that sounds an awful lot like synchronicity. Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, even Jim Carrey, they all spoke about how intention and awareness shape what unfolds around them. Jim Carrey, for example, famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. 5 years later, he got that exact amount for the film Dumb and Dumber. Not summoning magic, he said, but tuning in. The people you meet and the coincidences that guide you toward what you believe in. That's synchronicity at work. It's less about control, but more about alignment. It's not shouting demands at the universe. It's whispering thanks and watching it answer. It's working together. It's synchronicity. When you start to move through life with gratitude, you start to see it. There's patterns everywhere. You notice the right people appearing at the right time. Opportunities that might be disguised as chance. And you'll notice a voice in the noise saying, keep going. You're where you need to be. So what do you think it is? Just coincidence? Flaky bullshit? Or a cosmic dialogue? Again, I'd love to hear some of your coincidences, and please post in the comments if you have a story you want to share. If you enjoyed this episode, then you'll love our sponsors shop. Link is in the description, so check it out. You'll find all the merch relating to the collective consciousness. Join us on Mysteries Retold next time for more wacky looks at this crazy world we live in. Good night, folks.